Every single one of us has moments where we look in the mirror and ask, why hasn't my life changed yet? You've read the books, watched the videos, made the plans, and yet somehow things still look the same. You're not lazy, you're not broken, and you're not destined to stay stuck. The truth is, there's a real reason your life isn't changing, and once you see it, you'll never live the same way again. Because the moment you understand why you're stuck, you gain the power to break through it. Let's uncover it together, and more importantly, let's fix it. You've been waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right signal from the universe that says, now you can change. But here's the reality, that signal isn't coming. Because it's not life's job to change for you. It's your job to change for life. Most people live in this constant loop of someday. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll take care of my body. Someday I'll pursue what I really want. But someday is just another name for never. The truth is, you don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. The reason your life feels stuck isn't because you're unlucky or because the world has forgotten you. It's because you're waiting for things around you to shift before you do. And that's never how transformation works. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever had in your life started with a decision, not a condition. It wasn't when things were easy that you grew. It was when you had no choice but to rise. But somewhere along the way, you started believing the lie that says you have to feel ready before you move. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start. You need to move. You need to show life that you're serious. Because motion creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. The second you take that first uncomfortable step, energy begins to shift. Fear starts to shrink. Confidence begins to grow. You realize that the walls holding you back were never real. They were built by hesitation. Waiting keeps you safe, but safe is where dreams die. You can't expect transformation while you're still negotiating with your comfort zone. You can't expect a new life when you're holding on to the patterns of the old one. You want growth. Then you have to be willing to outgrow your excuses. You have to stop saying, I'll do it when I have time, and start saying, I'll make time because it matters. You have to stop saying, I'm not ready, and start saying, I'm ready enough to begin. Because the truth is, nobody ever feels fully prepared. Every great success story started with someone who didn't know what they were doing. They just decided to do it anyway. There's a part of you that knows what needs to be done. You feel it every day, that whisper inside that says, there's more for me. But you silence it with distraction. You bury it under routines that feel safe. You tell yourself stories about timing, about luck, about circumstances. But deep down, you know that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is you. Not your parents, not your past, not your environment, you. And when you finally take responsibility for that, you gain power. Because as long as you keep waiting for something outside of you to change, you give your power away. The truth is, change isn't an event that happens to you. It's a commitment you make with yourself. You have to decide that from this moment on, you're done waiting. You're done wishing. You're done giving yourself permission to play small. Because every second you spend waiting for perfect conditions is another second you could have spent creating them. You have to act as if you already deserve more, because you do. You have to move as if your dream is already on its way, because it is. When you stop waiting and start acting, something incredible happens. Life begins to respond. Opportunities that were invisible before start to appear. People who can help you start showing up. Your confidence begins to grow, not because you figured everything out, but because you proved to yourself that you could move forward despite the uncertainty. That's the magic of action. It builds belief. You start to trust yourself again. You start to feel alive again. So if your life hasn't been changing, ask yourself, have you truly decided to change, or are you still waiting for permission? Because the truth is, the door has been open the entire time. You just haven't walked through it yet. Don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for life to feel ready for you. Take the step. Risk failing. Risk being uncomfortable. Risk looking foolish. Because every great transformation begins with someone who was willing to move before they felt ready. And that someone can be you. The moment you stop waiting for life to change and start changing for life. Your mind is the most powerful force you have, yet for most people, it's the very thing that holds them back. Every thought, every belief, every internal conversation is shaping the reality you live in. The life you're living right now is not simply a result of luck, effort, or circumstance. It's a reflection of how your mind has been programmed. The reason most lives don't change isn't because people lack desire. It's because they let their mind run on autopilot, repeating the same thoughts that have kept them stuck for years. You can't build a new future with the same mindset that created your past. Most people don't even realize that their mind is running them. They wake up each day and replay the same mental movie, the doubts, the fears, the what ifs, the regrets. That inner voice becomes the director of their life. And since that voice is shaped by old pain, failure, and fear, it keeps them trapped in a cycle of hesitation. The truth is, your mind isn't against you, it's just programmed to protect you. Its job is to keep you safe, not to make you successful. But safe and stuck often look the same. The mind protects you by convincing you to avoid discomfort, and yet discomfort is the very place where growth lies. When you start to notice how your mind speaks to you, you begin to see the pattern. It says things like, I can't do this. What if I fail again? I'm not good enough yet. And because those thoughts feel familiar, you mistake them for truth. But they're not truth. They're conditioning. They come from experiences that once made you doubt yourself, moments when fear won, and over time, they became your reality. The moment you understand that your mind is a tool, not your master, you can begin to change everything. You can train your mind the same way you train your body. You feed it with focus, discipline, and strength. You choose what you allow it to dwell on. You replace the language of fear with the language of power. Every time that inner voice says, you can't, you replace it with, I can, and I will. Every time it says, you're not ready, you say, I'm ready enough to start. It's not about pretending everything is easy. It's about teaching your mind that fear is not danger. It's direction. The thoughts that scare you the most are often pointing straight toward your next level. Your life follows your dominant thoughts. Whatever you focus on expands. If you constantly feed your mind fear, you'll live a fearful life. If you feed it doubt, you'll attract situations that make you doubt even more. But if you feed it clarity, confidence, and belief, your reality will start to mirror those emotions. It's not magic, it's alignment. Your brain is wired to find evidence for what you believe. So if you believe you're stuck, it will find proof of your limitations. But if you believe you're capable, it will begin to notice every opportunity, every resource, every solution that matches that belief. That's why real transformation starts in the mind. You can change your habits, your environment, even your goals, but if your thoughts remain the same, you'll always be pulled back to where you started. The key is to become aware of your mental patterns and break the loop. Awareness is the first step to freedom. Once you see the story your mind is telling, you have the power to rewrite it. You stop reacting and you start responding. You stop running on fear and you start creating from vision. Start feeding your mind with power daily. Read things that challenge your old beliefs. Listen to voices that remind you of your strength. Surround yourself with people who make you think bigger, not smaller. Speak words that align with the identity you're building, not the one you're leaving behind, because your mind is always listening, and it believes what you repeatedly tell it. When you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. You realize that you were never really stuck. You were just hypnotized by the stories you kept repeating. The same mind that once held you prisoner can become your greatest weapon. The same thoughts that once made you afraid can become fuel for action. The only difference is awareness and direction. So start today. Start catching those thoughts that pull you back and replace them with ones that push you forward. Train your mind to serve your goals, not sabotage them. Because when you master your mind, your world begins to follow. And that's when life starts to change. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become stronger than your thoughts. There's a massive difference between being interested in change and being committed to it. Most people say they want transformation, but what they really want is comfort. They love the idea of growth, the feeling of possibility, the vision of success, but they don't love the grind that comes with it. They'll start strong for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but the moment things get uncomfortable, the excuses start pouring in. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm too tired. It's not the right time. That's not commitment, that's convenience. And convenience never changes a life. If your life isn't changing, it's because you're still halfway in. You're testing the water when you should be diving in. You're waiting to see if it'll be easy before you go all out. But growth doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with grit. You can't tiptoe your way into transformation. You have to burn the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. You have to make a decision that says, I'm not backing down no matter what. Until that happens, you'll keep circling the same patterns, facing the same roadblocks, living the same story. When you're only interested in something, you do it when it's convenient. When you're committed, you do it no matter what. That's the shift that separates dreamers from achievers. Interest gives you excuses, commitment gives you results. Interest says, I'll try. Commitment says, I'll do it. Interest looks for comfort, commitment looks for growth. The moment you move from, I want this, to, I'm all in, your energy changes. You stop negotiating with your goals. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop waiting for motivation because you've replaced it with purpose. True commitment is a decision that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's not based on how you feel, it's based on who you decide to be. Feelings are temporary, but decisions shape destiny. There will be days when you don't feel inspired. There will be days when everything goes wrong. There will be days when progress feels invisible. But those are the days that test your commitment. If you can keep showing up even when nothing seems to work, life starts to notice. Because life doesn't reward those who dabble. It rewards those who dedicate. Every successful person you admire once stood at the same crossroads to quit or to commit. And the only reason they made it is because they refused to turn back. They decided that failure was not final. They decided that obstacles weren't stop signs. They were training grounds. The truth is, the universe tests your seriousness. It will challenge your patience, your strength, your consistency, until you prove that you're not just interested, you're obsessed. When you stop making excuses and start finding ways, that's when the tide turns. Commitment means giving everything even when you get nothing back at first. It means trusting the process when results haven't shown up yet. It means believing in your vision when no one else does. And it's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can work hard for a day, few can stay disciplined for years. The small, invisible things you do daily are the real evidence of commitment. Waking up when you don't want to. Saying no to distractions. Doing one more rep, one more call, one more page. Those aren't just actions, they're declarations that say, I'm not going anywhere until I win. Most people think commitment means saying yes to your dream, but it's more about saying no. To comfort, to distraction, to the old version of yourself that keeps whispering, take it easy. Real commitment requires sacrifice. You'll have to give up your old excuses, your lazy habits, your desire for instant results. You'll have to trade temporary pleasure for lasting progress. But the moment you do, your confidence will explode. You'll stop doubting your abilities because your actions will start proving what you're capable of. The truth is, you don't need more motivation. You need a decision so strong that it makes excuses irrelevant. You need to commit at a level where turning back isn't an option. Because when you're fully committed, something changes inside you. You stop asking if it will happen and start asking how to make it happen. You stop fearing failure because you know failure can't beat someone who refuses to quit. Your life isn't changing because you've been interested, not committed. But the moment you draw that line in the sand and decide I'm all in, the world starts to move differently. Doors open, energy rises, people appear, opportunities align. Because life responds to certainty. And when you commit fully, when you throw away the backup plan and bet on yourself completely, you become unstoppable. That's when real change begins. Not when you wish for it, but when you decide nothing will stop you from making it real.